In this guided meditation, I'll go through what it is that you need to do to accomplish peace. So the main thing is to understand that awareness, pure awareness, is what you really are. There's nothing to actually become. So there is a process of understanding, bringing these concepts into your awareness and uncovering the truth, dispelling ignorance. And the primary way of doing that is through self-enquiry, which is really just questioning who is it that is experiencing any of these states of mind or body, to uncover the truth that there is no person here. And the reason this is so powerful is because normally everything is just covering over, everything is just a dream solution to a dream person. So any modality, any wellness treatment that you practice, any self-help, is really just in a dream. They have their value on a relative level. Of course, there are things to do and improve for the body and the mind. However, the truth is, if you want fundamental and lasting changes, you've got to uncover what you really are and identify yourself as pure consciousness. And the amazing thing is, once you identify with pure consciousness, you stop thinking so much and thinking less and trusting the universe more, because you're not overthinking and overanalyzing and trying to work out solutions, brings about the most amazing solutions. The universe is always pushing for you to have a good life. Even if those are harder lessons, they're things that will make your life easier eventually. So these are the most important meditation questions that you can ever ask yourself. They are the ultimate questions. Who is it that is thinking? Who is it that is feeling? Because they immediately dispel the ignorance of being a person. And these are the ultimate solutions to suffering, because they're all just, suffering is all just thoughts. When you really understand this, your day-to-day experience is so much simpler and easier. You live in the here and now naturally. You stop projecting into the future to try and find solutions to problems that have been created by the mind. And you stop trying to think back to the past or are concerned by things that have happened in the past. There's a foundational shift away from identifying with thoughts. You realize that it's good to think less, because most thought is emotional. Of course, there can be thoughts that are to do with practical ideas around how to get somewhere, for example, or what time it is needed to get somewhere, and especially with work projects, you can use your mind to think of practical things in a rational way. However, that's very different to the emotional thought of wondering why you did something, or feeling guilty or shame, or projecting into the future and worrying about outcomes. And all you have to do is identify which kind it is. 95% of thought is the emotional thought, which you don't want to have. You want to just use your mind as a tool, which is for certain practical tasks. So knowing this, you have to learn to trust that thinking less, or not thinking at all, and emptying your mind, having a state of not mind, empty mind, is the most powerful thing that you can do. And to get to that place, self-enquiry is the ultimate solution, because you dissolve the idea of being a person. You realize that there is no person here, there is no free will, there is no choices to really be made. You just relax and go along for the ride. You identify as pure consciousness, animating the human body and mind. You are that consciousness, which is making the process of the thoughts on a human body work, just like code on a machine. And that is what everything is in the universe. And so tuning into that, you naturally stop all the emotional emotional negative thoughts, or even the positive thoughts that are just superficial states of things that are on the material or mental plane, things that are external to consciousness, which on a relative level it is understood they can have their place. Of course, there are things to enjoy, however they are seen for what they are, which are just waves in consciousness, and you stop chasing them and stop looking for ultimate happiness or sense of fulfillment from those external objects like food or sensory pleasures or fears or concerns. So there has to be a level of understanding who you really are and what you really are. And that comes through the ultimate meditation questions. Who is it that is experiencing right now? What is aware of this feeling? What is aware of this thought? So you seek the source of consciousness. You become interested in what these thoughts and feelings are appearing on, because that's what you really are. You're being pointed to the fact that that's what you are. And then you start to see this for yourself, because the illusion of being a person is full of holes. It's actually quite easy to see through this illusion. And once you start to do that, week after week, month after month, year after year, it just becomes obvious, and there's a final understanding where the illusion of being a person is seen through completely, and realization unfolds naturally. Life unfolds, and you just relax into that unfolding, which is guided by the universal friend, the divine, and you are completely loved and completely supported, and everything in life is there to support you and help you to grow, and life just becomes a wonderful flow of amazing situations that meet you. So there is a lot of motivation and reason why you want to identify yourself as pure awareness, and understand that when you give up all of these external illusions and stop chasing these external mental and physical concepts, you actually gain everything. Gain access to the universal power, the power behind the sun, and the power behind the stars and the oceans and the earth, the thing that makes everything work, that runs everything in the world. And so with this discernment, you can have detachment from the physical objects and chasing them easily. And you realize that actually resting as pure awareness is the ultimate happiness. That unshakable, completely unmovable awareness, which is never affected by anything at all, is far beyond any temporary pleasure or relief from external things, because it's always there, it's always free, and it's what you are already right now. You are that pure consciousness. So remember, keep asking, who is it that is experiencing? Who is it that is feeling? And you can use these questions to work on attachments too. Who is it that is attached to this food? Who is it that is attached to this relationship? And you start to realize that there is no one really there. It's just a feeling and a thought, a belief, an idea, which are just states of consciousness. They're just thoughts and words and feelings which you've identified with the thought I or me, and created into this illusory person. However, the holes are, where is that person when you sleep? Where is that person when you're not thinking about all of these different behaviors and thoughts? Where does it go when you're doing something completely different? And when you understand that I is just a word, just a thought, just part of consciousness, how can it have a solid, separate entity How can it be anything that has any permanence? It changes from day to day, year to year, in different situations. And the fact that you can objectify this concept, I and I am, just shows that it's not what you are. It's just a reference, just like a name, just like the name you were given at birth. It's useful for identifying yourself in the world of relative things as a body, mind. However, that's all. To know the truth is the fact that that's not what you really are, and to know that is freedom. It's a subtle difference, but it makes all the difference. It's like knowing that a film isn't real and you can wake up. If you ever get scared in a horror movie, you just remind yourself that it's just a film, they're just actors. You've seen them in different parts. There's a part of you that knows they're just actors. You've seen them in different roles. You've seen them in interviews. You've seen behind the scenes footage and the CGI. You know that it's not real. And it's the same with waking up. Once you've seen through it, that's it. You know, you've dispelled the ignorance. So if you want to have lasting peace that isn't changed by anything, try self-enquiry questions and notice how powerful they are. Keep at it until you find peace.